And that is my number one song of 2019, Ghost in the Moon by Avantasia off of Moonglow. And that CD is also my number one CD of 2019. I'm Ken the Metal Professor. That ends my 2019 retrospective. Last week was top 10 CDs. This week was top 10, well, 11 actually, songs of 2019. You can go to metalprofessor.com to see the lists and listen to these tunes again, because I have links. The internet's like that. It's 9:15 here on WVLP, and now it is time for the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program.
Your insubordination will not be tolerated.
It's me again. It is now the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program, and this week I have for you delayed audio coverage of a show I was at last weekend, last Sunday, in fact, down in Crawfordsville, put on by New Generation Wrestling. And as usual, I'm just going to hit play, and you're going to hear some edited content from the show. The first half will take about 25 or 30 minutes of audio, and then we'll close out the hour with the second half of the show. So this is for those of you that like listening to wrestling on the radio, I suppose. You missed the show, you want to live it up again, whatever the reason, this is for you. This is Ken the Metal Professor. I'm way down here in Crawfordsville, Indiana, for the Sunday, December 22nd New Generation Wrestling show. It's a Christmas event. They've got Christmas music piped in to the Montgomery County Fairgrounds here. Santa Gideon has come out before the show and has a table of gifts to give away to young kids, that's a nice touch. I've already listened to Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer twice. I hope it doesn't come on again. You can probably hear the All I Want for Christmas Is My Two Front Teeth in the background here, and if not, here, let me pipe it up for you. There you go. That's probably all you wanted to hear of that. So, Jeremy Hadley and Jamie Crisis on the show, TK0, lots of other regular New Generation Wrestling stars. In just about 15 minutes, the event will begin, and I will have audio coverage for you. Since I'm down here on Sunday, December 22nd, I've pre-recorded mostly metal for the Sunday night show, and then this will air on Sunday, December 29th, along with my year-end best songs of 2019 in the heavy metal world recap. So that'll be a fun week. That'll give me a week to edit it too, which is usually nice. Usually I have like a day between a Saturday visit to a wrestling show and then the next day, Sunday, when it actually goes on the air. Hopefully I won't forget over Christmas. I'm a little slow on the uptake here, but the Grunch has come out to talk smack about Santa Gideon.
You really think you got a chance this week? Did you forget last year? No,
All right, so it's kind of hard to hear what they're saying, but you can imagine that with the Grunch in the middle of the ring with a microphone, talking smack about Santa Gideon outside the ring, that the two are approaching each other with hostile intent.
Who wants to see this match between Santa Gideon and the Grudge?
I don't know if it's on for now or later. Well, the Grunch has bid a hasty retreat, so if there is going to be Santa versus the Grunch, it's going to happen later.
Merry Christmas! Everybody ready for Christmas? Everybody got some shopping done? Anybody planning on shopping Christmas Eve? Up to you. Good luck. Have fun. Our last show of the year, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for being here. We got an exciting card for you tonight. I'm not going to talk long because, like I said, this is a great lineup. Let's start the show off like we always do. Crawfordsville, Indiana, somebody scream!
Lawrence Bonpafo coming out in a ref uniform. And following behind him, the first entrant for the first match, not somebody I recognize, but he looks unhappy and he looks like one of the members of the Misfits. And next out is TK0. This is where he gets cheered. He's even giving people hugs. Oh my gosh.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall, and it is for the New Generation Wrestling Hoosier State Championship. Introducing first, he is the challenger from Gravestone, Transylvania, Brimstone. His opponent from St. Joseph, Michigan, is the current New Generation Wrestling Hoosier State Champion, TK0.
I will point out that the only reason TK0 has that Hoosier State Championship is that he jumped in front of me at one of the previous NGW shows when Brentley Alexander Dawson suggested that I become the next challenger for that title, but TK0 came out and jumped the line. I don't hold it against him, though. And he started the match by taking Mr. Brimstone around to all the turnbuckles, one corner after the other, and slamming his head like 4 times into each corner. And if I've done my math right, that's 16 head slams. As this match progresses, 2 other unhappy-looking gentlemen, not with the Misfits type eye makeup, but just black shirt, black pants, and dark sunglasses, have come out to ringside, right where the aisle from the curtain area meets the ring area. One of them looks like a bodyguard, and he has set up a black, like a black crowd control rope between the ring and the aisle. And the other gentleman has just sat down in a chair and is glowering at the match. And we'll see what they're up to in a bit, I imagine.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this contest is a result of a submission, and still the New Generation Wrestling Hoosier State Champion, TK0.
TK0 wins with the Dragon Sleeper. The guy that was in the chair has stood up and is sarcastically clapping at TK0, and then he motioned to TK0 that he might like to have the belt instead. But then he and his henchmen have walked off back through the curtain. Out to the ring for match number 2 is, again, somebody who came out to the ring that I didn't recognize. A second entrant who was apparently having a seizure on his way to the ring. Oh, no, he was just dancing to his entrance music. And here comes a third entrant with an orange prison jumpsuit. But he is wearing a Christmas-type cap, stocking cap with one of the little fur balls on the end of it. So he must be pretty fun, even though he's from prison. I'm going to let Ron tell you who these people are. Oh, maybe there's a fourth. Oh, I know this one. Kenneth James.
gentlemen, the following contest scheduled for one fall in this tag team action. Introducing first, hails from Gray County, Iowa, Taylor Myers. His tag team partner, ladies and gentlemen, from Rancho Cucamonga, Busy B-G-I-K-I Double D. Their opponents, ladies and gentlemen, first, he comes from the Asylum Maniac. His partner, ladies and gentlemen, is NGW Triple Crown winner from Bloomington, Indiana, Kenneth James.
So as it turns out, this is a tag team match. I won't be trying to reinterpret most of those names, so I'm just going to call them Kenneth James and Prison Guy, and Dancing Guy and his partner. I mean, I know who Dancing Guy is, but I don't want to give it away. While this match is underway here with Prison Guy and Dancing Guy in the ring together, I'm going to take advantage of one of the reasons I think this is one of my favorite wrestling venues to come to a show at, even though it's so far from Valpo. It has internet. I'm going to hop on Facebook, which is what I should have done already, and dig out some names if I can do that. I do know that one of them is Busy Something Double D. I'll see if I can get the complete version. Well, I'm back. Took a couple minutes for me, instantaneous for you. On the New Generation Wrestling Indiana Facebook page, there is a lot of promotion about the card and mention of a couple of matches, but not a whole rundown. There is, though, a picture of an article in the local newspaper that had a list of many of the matches on the card. However, the first two matches so far weren't in that listing. Right now, Busy is busy jumping up and down on Prison Guy. Asylum Guy, I should say. He was announced as from the Asylum. Little standing on the throat action there from Busy, etc. Double D. And a big old suplex. Now, the man from the Asylum just came off the top turnbuckle with a huge double drop kick on Busy Double D. And then a big spear, too. Now he's about to clonk the heads together of his two opponents right in the ring. There goes one. Ooh, and then like a double Salida del Sol. Had them both around the neck, ran into the turnbuckle, up and over, and dropped them both on their backs. Pretty cool. And now he's tagged in Kenneth James, who's left in the ring with Busy.
The tag team of Conniving Kenneth James and Maniac.
So Kenneth James had taken Busy out by hitting him with a big spear and then eventually rolling him out of the ring, leaving his partner, the Maniac from the Asylum, to take care of Busy's partner with the pinfall.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the winners of this contest, Maniac and Conniving Kenneth James.
The next match is that promised match between Santa Claus and the Grunch. Let's listen to their entrance musics. The Grinch has come to the ring with what looked like a bag of treats for the people in the front row. And what he's reaching in there and grabbing and trying to hand out is like dirty underwear, dirty socks. I wouldn't be surprised if he's got weaponry in there to use against Santa Gideon. And here comes Santa Claus.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest scheduled for one fall. Introducing first, he hails from the wrong side of the tracks, the Grudge. His opponent, ladies and gentlemen, he hails from the east side of the North Pole, Santa Gideon.
The Grinch has started the match with a sneak attack on Santa Gideon. And then while Gideon was down, he climbed on his back like he was riding a horse while shouting out the names of reindeer. But Gideon's not having any of that, and you're about to hear the result. Gideon has now stood up with the Grinch on his back. But instead of dropping him to the mat, he just kind of mushed him into the turnbuckle, which did not make that satisfying thud in the middle of the ring. The Grinch has taken a page from The Fiend and has brought out a giant inflatable hammer, and he's whacking Santa Gideon in the chest and then in the head to no effect. And that popping noise was Santa Gideon hitting the Grinch so hard that he exploded the hammer. Now, I guess I should put in a little disclaimer here that I believe during the introduction and now in hollering around the ring, the non-Santa character may be getting referred to as the Grudge, and perhaps that is to avoid copyright infringement problems. So let it be known that any reference to the Grinch here is my own and not those of New Generation Wrestling.
Hey, shut up for a minute. Give the kick in the butt. As I come around, give the kick in the butt.
Santa is now biting the arm of the Grinch Grudge on the outside of the ring. Now, ref Lawrence Bonpafo is being very forgiving and is letting all these shenanigans go on. He's not making a 10 count because he is also in the Christmas spirit, and he too wants to see Santa Gideon defeat the Grinch Grudge.
Oh, yeah. Hey, smell family.
Santa Gideon is now bringing the Grinch Grudge around the ring and letting kids have whacks at him in an unfortunate defenseless area, as he has the Grinch Grudge in a big headlock with his posterior region pointed towards the audience. If you haven't been able to imagine it in your mind, don't. It's not a pretty sight.
Ladies and gentlemen, winner of this contest, Santa Gideon.
And without much further ado, Santa Gideon has defeated the forces of evil. Christmas is safe, boys and girls.
Merry Christmas, fat boy!
Justin Myers, a.k.a. Grinch number 2, apparently, has come out and done a sneak attack on Santa.
This company and this town from me. And then 4 months later, what happened, Gideon? You lost it all again. The title came back home to me. Now why is that, fat boy? It's because you're a shell of a man you used to be. You know just as well as I know So let it be known, Gideon, that your career in this title, you may have started out the years with bang, but it's going out with a whimper. And the only way you are getting this title from me is from my bloody... Keep your hands off me, fat boy. The only way you're getting this title from me is from my cold, bloody, lifeless hand!
Well, now we know who is on Santa's naughty list. Justin Myers is not in the Christmas spirit. All right, so now we're going to let security roll Santa's carcass out of the ring.
Hey, Myers. Ho! Ho! You're dead.
Well, I think it's Jeremy Hadley's gig to tell people ho ho, but Gideon can get away with it too. Oh no, Gideon has lost his Christmas spirit too. He's taken off the Santa hat and the Santa outfit, thrown it down in the ring and said enough of this crap and stormed off to the back to look for Justin Myers.
I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Appreciate you showing up. It's our last show of the year. It means a lot to us that you came out to see us. Our next event is February 15th. It's all posted on Facebook on the New Generation Wrestling Indiana page. It's New Generation Wrestling Indiana. Make sure you don't put NGW Indiana. You can spell it out. New Generation Wrestling Indiana.facebook.com. Private group. Come in and join us. Talk about what you want to see, what you like about us. You know, give us your opinions on stuff. We're always there to answer. I have myself and 3 other people that help me on that page. And we appreciate everything that we see and hear from you guys on our Facebook page. We're also on Instagram and Twitter. So check us out all over social media. All right, you guys ready to see some more wrestling? Introducing first, he hails from Charleston, Illinois, Johnny Echo. His opponent, ladies and gentlemen, from Greencastle, Indiana, Chris Gordon.
So the newspaper article on the NGW Facebook page said that Chris Gordon would be taking on Nate Matthews, but it doesn't sound like his opponent's name here was Nate Matthews. So I may have to refer to him as not Nate Matthews. When I come to these shows, I just like being, you know, a spectator, but with recording equipment. I don't want to be like behind the scenes guy, but maybe I should start asking for like lists of matches from the folks at the announce table or something, so that I don't make such a mess out of these people's names, because they come out here and work hard, and I hate not knowing who they are, what their names are. Chris Gordon has taken down his opponent with 2 big standing drop kicks and a tilt-a-whirl head scissors takedown, which flung him outside the ring. And Gordon isn't going to sit around and wait, and he's hopped over the top rope with a swinging kick off the apron into the guy's chest. Ooh, but then he was going for one move too many, and Chris Gordon was taken down by a drop toe hold right into the ring steps. At least I think there are steps over there. That's on the total opposite side of the ring. Yep, there's steps there because his head just got thudded into them. Gordon's opponent just pulled one I hadn't seen before. He had Gordon in the corner turnbuckles, and he told the ref, "Oh no, I'm cramping up," and so he proceeded to stretch himself out, and he stretched himself out by raising his left leg up to neck level, pressed it into Chris Gordon's neck, and acted like he was stretching out both of his hamstrings, or his adductors, not his hamstrings. That was clever. He's tried a few pinfalls. None have gotten farther than 2, though. The closest was a pinfall that Gordon only got out of because he was close enough to drop his foot on the rope after the 2 count. There we go. Gordon just reversed a move into a lung blower. Now both men are down. Big chops to the front and the back of his opponent by Chris Gordon. I can see them in my sound file here on my screen, where there's just the blue waveform of background noise and then 2 spikes sticking up one after the other. I love that.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is your winner, Chris Gordon.
Chris Gordon eventually picks up the win.
Scheduled for 1 fall. I'm done. Ready to get it? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is scheduled for 1 fall. Introducing first, he hails from Crawfordsville, USA, DEFCON 1, Dalton Davis. His opponent, ladies and gentlemen, straight out of high school, Dewey Wellington.
All right, finally the first match where I can line up the people's names. Dalton Davis versus Dewey Wellington. Dewey announced is just out of high school, which explains why he came to the match with a backpack and a lunchbox. His lunchbox, unfortunately, has met an untimely fate at the hands, or rather the feet, of Dalton Davis. Oh God, now Dewey's flossing in the ring. Okay, now I hope that Dalton just beats him up. Oh, well, regardless of his flossing to start the match, I appreciate Dewey's work. He's quick and agile. He's been springboarding off of the ropes for many different moves. And that time, having thrown Dalton Davis out of the ring, he just took a running home plate chest down slide off the ring apron, outside of the ring, and onto Davis, who is on the floor. He must be mad about his lunchbox. Now an enziguri from the outside of the ropes to Davis. Dewey's up on the top, but he missed his jumping. Davis got out of the way. Oh, and Davis just dropped him unceremoniously on his butt. Dalton Davis got tired of Dewey Wellington buzzing around him like a hummingbird and just dropped him with a kick to the face. But then he gloated for too long and wasn't able to get a pin. And now Wellington has sort of come back with a spinning DDT, but both men are struggling to get to their feet. Now Dalton just slapped him. Ooh. And he got slapped back and another slap. Man. So Dewey just missed with a 360 splash from the top rope. Dalton picked him up and did a fireman's carry cannonball into the corner, planting Dewey. But he could not get a pinfall. And now they're back to even. Dalton was attempting to come back in over the top rope, but Dewey kicked him. Now both guys are down.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is your winner, Dalton Davis.
And Dalton Davis finally comes out on top after a pile driver. Dewey's just laying there in the ring. Oh, now Dalton's going over there and stealing Dewey's backpack.
Once again, your winner, ladies and gentlemen, DEFCON 1, Dalton Davis.
As a pre-intermission reminder, Ron Butcher started talking about NGW's next show right here at the Fairgrounds in February. He's interrupted by Young Money from High Society. And apparently it is time for Thomas Keith's birthday bash.
First of all, I don't come to your guys' birthday party and boo you, so shut up and show some.
I'm offended because my birthday is this week and I have not been invited to this birthday bash. In fact, my birthday is Christmas, so that should take precedence.
We celebrate the greatest magazine that NGW has ever seen. That is High Society, but also to show some respect to a real man and my best friend, Thomas the Benjamin Keith. Hit the music.
You know, it's a hard pill to swallow. When they tell you you're strange, and you ain't hurt.
Thank goodness somebody may be interrupting this before we had to listen to Young Money sing.
That means something.
Oh, it's NGW Commissioner Nina Valentine. She has brought a Christmas present out for Thomas the Benjamin Keith. Her present to us is stopping Young Money from singing Happy Birthday.
I'm the man, and I get this.
Oh, you're welcome. I thought you could keep them up before Jeremy and Hadley eat you guys up.
Oh, an ungrateful High Society have thrown her presence out of the ring. Now here come Jeremy Hadley and Jamie Crisis. They're due for a tag title match against High Society, which I was imagining wouldn't happen until after intermission. So we'll see what's going to happen here.
Hey, no one cares how long you two have been friends. In the time I've known this man, we've already won gold. What you got to show for it? Only what you got, huh? Yeah, Mr. Clean, go ahead. That's right. Where's your tag chance?
Well, it looks like that match might be happening right now. Young Money wrapped a chain around his fist and tried to sneak attack Jeremy Hadley with it while all four were in the ring. That didn't go so well. Jamie Crisis has now gone outside the ring and brought in a head of cabbage right into the face of Young Money. And green leafy matter has sprayed everywhere over the ring. I don't think this is actually the match because there's no referee around. and they've taken Thomas Keith and smashed his head into a table on the far side of the arena for me, and I'm thinking maybe his birthday cake was on that table. That means I didn't get to eat any. Dang it. That is the end of half one of New Generation Wrestling's Christmas Chaos from Crawfordsville, Indiana, last Sunday the 22nd. Now I'm here live on Sunday night on WVLP, and it's about 10 minutes before the top of the hour, and nobody comes in after me at 10 o'clock, and so I can sneak past the top of the hour with half two. For the replay of this, though, if you're listening to this Wednesday night and it's approaching midnight, I'm going to have to lop off the second half because I can't overrun midnight when all the programming resets. And so if you want to hear the second half of the show by Wednesday night, this will also be posted to YouTube. Look for the Northwest Indiana Wrestling Action Program YouTube page. The abbreviation is NWIWRAP, NWIWRAP. So just look for the NWIWRAP YouTube page. You'll find this as episode 94, both halves of the show. But for those of you listening live, I'm going to kick off. Once I restart my tablet here, you'll get to listen to the action from the second half. It won't take as long as the first half. The second half was shorter. The second half is underway here. Coming to the ring is Buck Sexton and his henchmen, and this explains who the gentlemen were outside the ring at the end of TK0's match at the start of the first half.
He hails from Baja, California, Rudy El Caliente. And his opponent, ladies and gentlemen.
Ron doesn't get to introduce Buck Sexton.
All right.
So Buck was the one indicating to TK0 that he would like to have TK0's Hoosier State belt.
Whoever the hell this guy is, you're not going to do it to me. What? Sorry. Ken? Ken? These idiots in Crawfordsville can't speak Spanish, bud. Anyway, I come from a town far better than Crawfordsville, Indiana. I weigh tonight at 246 pounds, which by the looks of the crowd is far less than most of the women in the building. And my name is the Buck Sexton!
Buck Sexton is making friends and influencing people with the microphone. Right away, before even a lockup, Sexton's henchman was up on the ring apron, distracting his opponent, and Buck Sexton was able to attack from behind. Now he's keeping it up with running chest slams and choking in the corner. Buck Sexton was trying to distract the ref while his henchman was beating on Mr. Caliente from the outside. Buck Sexton just dropped Mr. Caliente so hard that his he had a blonde ponytail wig on top of his head, apparently. I'm not sure why, because he's wearing a full lucha mask underneath anyway. The ref was trying really hard not to be a victim of Buck's nonsense, but it's kind of hard not to be. Fireman's carry into a backdrop onto Buck Sexton, but barely a 2 count.
Ladies and gentlemen, winner of this contest,
Buck Sexton gets Mr. Caliente to tap out to a sharpshooter. Now Sexton and his henchmen are standing over him. Yeah, it looks like they're going to dish out some more punishment here. They dropped him with, I call it an assisted RKO kind of thing. Oh, here comes TK0. So he didn't let Buck Sexton's appearance during his match go unnoticed.
What do you think, everybody? Next month, or February 15th, Buck Sexton.
Well, looks like Buck Sexton got what he wanted out of all that because TK0 has challenged him to a title match.
Winner by submission. And next, who's your state champion? The Buck Sexton.
After Buck Sexton went to the back, TK0 helped Mr. Caliente to his feet. And he told the crowd, he's alive, and he helped Caliente wave his arms. And then as soon as TK0 stepped away, Mr. Caliente just flopped forward onto his face again. So TK had to drag him out by his legs. Now the ring is clear for the next match.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is scheduled for one fall. Introducing first, he hails from the Palace of Malice. Ladies and gentlemen, Vinny the Shetty. His opponent, ladies and gentlemen, being accompanied to the ring by Miss Allie from Pursuit, Indiana, the one-man war machine, Jason Levi.
I question Vinny Vichetti's fashion sense. A bright red tank top and black pants and white boots. Vinny's been able to get in a couple of licks with underhanded means, mostly on the outside of the ring. He does have Jason Levi back into the ring, dropped him on his head, tried for a 3 count, but only got 2. And that may have been his last chance. So he's still hitting Jason Levi. Now he's pulling on his face or something. Jason Levi's facing away from him. He's getting his eyes raked. It turns out that Vinny Vichetti's getting in more offense than he probably ought to, but Jason Levi just hit him with a flying knee strike off the top turnbuckle. Maybe it's time for a little comeback here. Well, except for Vicchetti keeps going in there with strikes. Oh, but after a whip into the turnbuckles, Jason Levi got him with an elbow and a headbutt. And now from the outside of the apron, big kick and a stunner. Now Vicchetti is rolled over into the corner turnbuckles. Levi is charging in, big flying elbow. Vicchetti spasms around like a fish out of water. Oh, Levi drug him into the ring so he couldn't get to the ropes. But that delay for the pinfall may have freed Vicchetti up a bit because he kicked out after 2.
Gentlemen, double count out. Neither one can enter the 10 count. This contest is a draw. It's a double count out.
So that match ended in a double countout. Vichetti went outside the ring and put his hands on Jason Levi's ring attendant, valet, manager, whatever you want to call her, which upset Levi, of course. So he went out the ring and lost his cool a bit, and he started pounding on Vichetti, and instead of taking him into the ring, took him back towards the curtain, and both men got counted out. Ref John came out at the start of this last match. Commissioner Nina Valentine came out after him, took the mic, and announced that this was his last match that he's going to ref for NGW, and had all the NGW workers and staff come out to the ring, give him a little surprise farewell round of applause.
Let's make this real quick because we got an awesome main event coming up.
Oh, they're making him give a speech.
I just wanted to say thank you to everybody here at NGW. Treated me like family for well over 8 years now. Especially the fans. There's nothing better coming here than getting cheered Lil Jon all the time, getting heckled. But special thanks definitely Big John, KJ, my wife, and my buddy Tony, and Jerry. If it wasn't for them, I would not be the ref I am today, for sure. So, that's a fact. Even though I am retiring, even though I am retiring, I definitely want to let everybody know I will not be a stranger. I will be here, I will be a fan, I will be out in the crowd, I will not forget you guys, and I will still be here constantly supporting NGW as long as they're around. So, once again, everybody, thank you, and Merry Christmas.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee John Downs. And it is for the NGW Tag Team Championship. Introducing first, the challengers. He hails from Boston, Massachusetts, the Warfare, Jeremy Hadley. His partner, ladies and gentlemen, from Lafayette, Indiana, frequent caller to the Crisis Hotline, Jamie Crisis! The challengers, ladies and gentlemen, have shown tonight that they're ready for a fight. Introducing the tag team champions. First, from Indianapolis, Indiana, Young Money! His partner, ladies and gentlemen, also from Indianapolis, Thomas the Benjamin Key!
You can tell High Society must be serious about this match because they didn't rip the microphone away from Ron Butcher and do their own introductions. Either that or Thomas Keith's mouth is still full of cake from earlier and he can't speak. The bell rings and immediately a melee breaks out with all four men in the ring. But the challengers came out on top of that one with dual tilt-a-whirl head scissors, flinging High Society, both of them, out of the ring. While Young Money had the ref distracted, Thomas Keith was choking Jeremy Hadley with the ring rope in that corner. Hadley's getting himself out of dodge and he tags in Jamie Crisis, who's plenty fresh with the drop kick on Young Money. And a sit-down power slam. While Jamie Crisis is sort of recovering on the floor on the outside of the ring, Jeremy Hadley's been taking care of business. Until that, he was taking care of both members of High Society at the same time. He tried to pin Young Money, who is not the legal man. And then that thud you just heard was Jeremy Hadley going down to a rock bottom from Thomas Keith. So now the two members of High Society are having their way with Jeremy Hadley, while Jamie Crisis gingerly gets his way up to his corner. Thomas Keith is down in the middle of the ring. Hadley is up on the top turnbuckle. Comes off with a huge frog splash, but it took him a couple of seconds to recover himself. And before the 3 count, Young Money came off the top turnbuckle from the other side and clobbered Hadley. And kind of clobbered his own partner too, but nonetheless the pin got broken up. And Young Money is now kind of slapping Thomas Keith, trying to wake him up. All 4 men are in the ring, and it's a slugfest. Ref John is in the Christmas spirit. You know, it's his last match, so he's kind of having fun with it, letting things go a little while. Oh, now Hadley's taken out. He's laying dead upright on the ring apron. Young Money tried to throw Jamie Crisis out over the top rope, but he caught himself. Whacked them both. Now he's climbing to the top corner. Double drop kick. Jamie Crisis and Jeremy Hadley each have a member of High Society in a submission hold, and they tapped out together.
New Generation Wrestling Tag Team Champions, Jamie Crisis, Jeremy Hadley.
And what do you know? New tag team champs to end up the year 2019 for New Generation Wrestling, Jeremy Hadley and Jamie Crisis. And unless there's further trouble, that wraps up this New Generation Wrestling show. You'll be listening to this delayed audio coverage on Sunday, December 29th, so Happy New Year, everybody. I'll be back with more wrestling fun in 2020. And as always, keep it tuned to WVLP.